I have grease everywhere. I have it all over my hands, and it's all over the table.
Yeah. What is that? What was going on here?
That was a delicious pizza. And this is one of these national pizza chains. We go pick it up, but I'm just annoyed from this experience. The pizza is delicious, but they had this online special, any pizza, $7.99, and I order it and they charge me, $9.99.
Oh,
yeah. They added $2 to my pizza.
for what?
Wouldn't you like to know? Yeah, so they ordered. They added $2 to my order. So I think that's worth a call. I don't know. I'm one of those customers that go away quietly. I don't really put up that much of a fuss. Are you like that?
Not really. If it's something that really bothers me, I might, but I kind of look at it as like, if I go online and like leave a Yelp review or something, like, is it really going to matter? I'm not sure.
I think working in retail, for a long time has sensitized me to the way people act when people feel like that they've been wronged, and they come in to the store ready for war.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, I usually find myself sticking up for the retailer, especially the people that work there, because they're just doing what they're told to do. And from my vantage point, every problem has a solution. And normally, I think if you do have a problem, if you got wronged at a store, I think it's pretty easy to get it fixed. But there is one thing that complicates you getting your problem solved.
And what's that?
Well, it's you, or not.
Yeah.
You, it's the person. If okay, you're mad. If you want to express how mad you are, I don't know. You can't, in my opinion, you usually can't get both. If you want your money back, if you want made whole, or if you want to blow off steam, I think you can have one or the other. It just seems like, the retailers are trained. When people come in and they're reasonable about it, you can get what you want. But when people come in, spitting and cussing and screaming and throwing fits, I think it's only reasonable for people, the battle lines are drawn, and now it becomes a negotiation piece.
Right. Because then it's down to, is this person doing this just, nothing was wrong with their order. They're just doing it to make a stink about something that happened in their day that it was bad, and now they're venting on that customer service person, or they're trying to just get something for nothing.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I cannot think of the last time I don't know what the right word is, thrown a fit, or vented in a retail establishment, either fast food or a convenience store or anything like that. I have always found, if you were charged wrong, or if something was wrong or something was broke, I have always found it easy to get what you want. And maybe that's because of the way you approach things.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When I was working my way through college, I was an auto mechanic, and I was an auto mechanic at a Sears Auto Center. I was there for like 7 years. That was my first experience, and I had seen some of the worst behavior out of adults. And I don't know if it's because of cars, or what, but oh my gosh, some of these people are just rude.
Yeah.
And they want their money back.
Yes, they want it all. They want everything.
Yeah.
And I've seen the same thing, like, in line at like a drive-through, and it's taking longer than expected, and the person in front of you can tell they're just, impatient. They get up to the window and they just start yelling at the people about how long they made them wait for their food. It's no consideration on the fact that maybe they're understaffed that day, or maybe something was going on, nothing else matters except that person. They felt that they were wrong because whatever, it's just,
Yeah.
it's funny
It,
sometimes.
and that's where I think I've become so hypersensitive now because, I've been in there and I know that stores and have good days and bad days and just sometimes things just don't work right. And I've gone into like restaurants before, like McDonald's or Burger King, wherever, and you just get the sense that something, this is going to be a bad day. There's a long line. I just turn around and leave and just go somewhere else,
Yep.
Uh, seems like the older I've gotten, the more resistant to confrontation I've become. And that's where I am coming about this pizza here is I go away quietly, okay, go ahead and charge me $2 extra, but I this is going to be the most expensive $2 that you've ever snuck a fee in on someone, because you will never see me again in your restaurant,
There you go. Yep.
and I'll tell as many people as I can what you guys have done. It's just dishonest. It's like
Right.
with Firewood too, with deliveries and all. If you order a quarter cord, you get a quarter cord.
Yes.
If you order seasoned firewood, you get seasoned firewood, And I don't know. I've gotten, I think, 2 legitimate complaints. And my policy is there's no complaining. I will fix whatever it is that you need. And I don't care if I think they're wrong or not. It doesn't matter. I will take care of the customer's issue.
Yes. That.
Yeah.
So the great tasting pizza actually left a bad taste in your mouth. Yeah, right. This, but it is interesting to think about like how it relates to Firewood, and customer, whatever the complaints they have. I think with Firewood, it's pretty easy to fix and solve. I don't know, just from I haven't had very many unhappy customers. Not that I'm bragging or anything, but they come to the stand, they pick up the wood, they go, they burn it. No one's ever like come back and demanded more wood because,
Dan, what would you do if a customer just came back to you and had a complaint about the firewood?
I would just, ask what the complaint was, and then I would probably just, give them the equal amount of wood they had and just give it to them for nothing. Just say, all right, if you weren't happy with the wood that you picked up, here is some wood that I know is ready to go. Take this and see how it works.
Yeah. I see it the same way. I mean, how much is a stick of firewood worth to you?
Right.
When you get to the end of the day. And, I don't know. I just see it as an opportunity to be exceptional, and you go for it. My most recent one, I delivered firewood to a guy and it had a bunch of walnut in it and it looked great, but he said he didn't like the way it smelled. And he has a bunch of neighbors that he's sensitive to. He said it just smelled awful. And I'm serious. I just loaded up. I loaded up I replaced every single stick of that with ash, and
Nice.
he was happy, and he thinks I'm awesome. And I took the walnut home, and I'll just mix it in with other orders.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's pretty easy in the firewood business to satisfy unhappy customers, but again, depending on their complaint, because you can always, I always think of like probably the most common complaint would be they didn't get the amount that they were promised, which in that case, you just take them more and you give them what they think they were shorted.
Yeah. Quantity. The complaints that I hear of customers complaining about other firewood guys is they never showed up.
Yep.
They never showed up at all. They didn't show up late. They didn't show up at all. I hear that all the time. And then from there it goes downhill, with quality.
Quantity.
It was, mud, mushrooms. I told you before, the lady caught the guy peeing in her front yard. Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah. You can easily go over to the passenger side of your truck and make it look like you're rummaging through a toolbox and relieve yourself.
Yeah. But it just seems like with firewood, though, I think people get focused and hung up on the production of, and then they forget to realize that firewood is a service industry.
Right.
Even if people are picking it up, it's a service. You're providing a service. And I think people just ignore that part, and they are more focused on themselves. And that's what, where I've talked before about the difference between a hobby and a business is, the hobby makes sense to you.
Yep.
The business should make sense to your customer. And I just see a lot of like firewood deliveries where, it's about the person delivering the wood, about I will bring what the quantity that I want to bring, or, I'm not bringing it. I'll bring it on the day that I can bring it, or I'm not going to bring it.
Yep. I'll
You
bring
know,
you the size splits that I split, and that's what you're going to get.
yeah. And dare not complain.
No. This is the way I split it, and this is the way you're getting it.
Right. But I see that still though in service industries. There's this other pizza parlor in town. I had this one friend, whenever you'd ask him directions to a place, he'd say, well, you go down to the Kentucky Fried Chicken and turn right. You you turn left at the Burger King, and then when you get to the Dairy Queen, it's like two doors down from that. But like my customer service stories here about restaurants. There is this other pizza parlor in town, and I love their pizza. But when I call them, they don't say hi, how you doing? It's like they answer it, pick up or delivery. What is your name, and what would you like to order?
Yep.
And I mean, I don't want them to read me War and Peace, but they are just so process oriented that it's
Yeah.
like they lose track of the customer service. And then they seem to be so process oriented that when you get your pizza and you lift the lid, each slice of pizza has 3 pieces of pepperoni on each one. I guess you can look at that either way, it's like, well, they're making sure you get, but it just seems contrived. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like they're counting, they're bean counting.
Yep. Exactly.
The accountants are in charge of the business, and not the operators, that are focused on customer service.
I heard one time from a contractor who did landscaping that one of his rules for him and his crew was each day they arrived on site, they had a 20-minute rule. And the 20-minute rule was whenever the opportunity presented itself to spend 20 minutes with the customer, just talking and getting to know them and seeing how their day was and if they were happy with the job. So, just talking, just having a conversation instead of
That's
just
awesome.
showing up, doing your job and leaving,
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately what people want, especially anymore with maybe contracting is different, but like with retailing, if you haven't been alive for like the last 40 years, all of the retailers are all the same, all of their stores look exactly the same.
Yep.
They all sell the exact same products. And, the difference is, the way you're treated as a customer.
Right.
And, that's just the way it is in a lot of places. You can tell where their emphasis is on how to do business. Is it, here's another restaurant analogy for us. We had this barbecue place that opened up in town, and their food was really good. But when you would go in there and order, they had the counter that the cook stood behind. You'd order your food. The lady would turn around and say, the pork sandwich, and they would put this lump of pork on a scale. And then, serious, the guy would have his tongs and he would just start picking up a little flake of meat and take it off of the scale and keep doing that. And it's like, my gosh.
Oh, yes.
They are that concerned about the cost of goods that they are just literally removing a flake of meat from a sandwich right in front of the customer too. And it's just,
Yeah.
And then you go to some restaurants, and they just heap your plate, with French fries or whatever it is, where you can get that sense that this is a family diner. They care about you and they want you to have an abundance.
Yes.
But then there's some places that they're polishing their pennies.
it's always great to feel like you're getting more than what you paid for. That sense of you're getting a better deal is something that, I think
Yeah.
everyone loves that feeling.
Yeah. And, or that sick feeling you get watching them pick, literally
Yeah,
a minuscule amount of meat off of an order so that it weighs properly.
right. It's like when I used to go out, and have a drink somewhere, and you go to the small town bars, and the bartenders would all just, kind of pour right into your glass, and then you go to like Applebee's, and they have an electronic measuring device on the end of their bottles to make sure you get exactly 1 ounce of
Yeah.
liquor per drink.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my goodness.
I had heard, this was a long time ago, it was like one of the airlines had done a study on their in-cabin food service, that if they were
Yeah.
to remove like 2 olives from each salad that they serve in a year, it would save the company, like $600,000, something like that. I don't know. It just seems like the world is a better place until the bean counters get involved,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And I guess that's the challenge being self-employed is that, usually the owner is responsible for customer service and for balancing the books. Huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Yeah. One thing I've actually started doing, anytime I see someone getting firewood from the roadside stand, like I will make it a point to go down there and just, talk a little bit, find out what they're doing with are they leaving town? Are they just having a party? And I think, that's what really helps establish like a customer base. And then, like you said, just giving a little bit more. Like I'll fill up a bin, and if I have a piece or two, I'll put it on the front, like little lip of the bin, so it looks like the bin is overflowing. Oh,
Uh-huh.
goes up. It goes, 10 times. People are happier pulling out that wood. Oh, I got a couple extra pieces.
Yeah. I believe in customer service, but I don't believe in giving extra though. And it's not because I'm a bean counter at all. This is just learning from experience. I did that one time and then I delivered again and they're asking, did I get the correct amount? Like as if I shorted them. And, the answer is no, you got exactly what you got before. But, that was because I had extra left over in my truck and I gave it to him. It was like the same. One of the first lessons I learned about discounts too. And I don't want to sound like a miser here because I'm not, but I don't do discounts. The price is the price.
Yep.
So when I first started doing this was early on. I got this call in the middle of March. And it was from this very nice elderly lady just across the lake. And she needed just a little bit of wood to get her through, the colder times of the night. So I says, okay, I had some wood that was in my way and I just needed to get it gone. So I packed it up and took it over to her and just charged her very little for it. And she was just so pleased. Well, then, she called me the next year and she ordered firewood and I completely forgot about all this. And I just gave her wood and gave her the bill and she just about passed out. She's like, I can't afford this. This is too expensive. She goes, you charged me such and such last year. I was like,
oh no.
Lesson learned,
Yeah.
So I guess if you do give a discount, if it was a special situation, I would tell them now, so it doesn't happen again. But now to this day, she calls me every year and I still give her that price.
No.
I consider that I was paying for my lesson.
Yep. Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. No discounts. I should do a YouTube video on discounting firewood.
Yeah.
My video would be like 10 seconds long. I would just say, there are no discounts.
This is value added, not value subtracted firewood.
Yeah. Ohio Wood Burner is not a nonprofit organization.
Right.
As long as I can do something about it.
Yeah, that's the one thing, when you think about firewood, like you said, there's the quality, the quantity, the showing up on time. But one other interesting thing that's kind of come up with the, I guess, social media and all the online ordering of things is that there's actually people who will advertise online that they have firewood for sale, and then they require like a down payment to be paid ahead of time, but then they never show up, like you said. So there's actually a growing, I guess, scammer presence in the firewood community online.
Jeez. Yeah, I was going to say I can sum that business model up in 2 words: rip off.
Yeah, and here's the other funny thing. They actually create Facebook pages and they use images from other Facebook pages or Instagram accounts. So, for example, most of the pictures from my Instagram account are on a numerous number of sites claiming to sell firewood on Facebook.
Yeah, I have seen them. I have seen them.
So
I think they pick you because you're such an attractive man.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know. But so be aware if anyone out there has anyone or knows anyone that wants to order firewood offline, do not pay a down payment. And if you got this off of Facebook, double check your sources.
Yeah. Wow. That's just amazing that people put that much effort into stealing.
Yeah.
And you could put that same amount of effort into, building an exceptional home-based business.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating.
And then the only thing it does is it just gives those honest people in firewood even more a harder time to, get. It just gives everybody a bad name.
Yeah. That was also one of the reasons why I decided to become a legitimate business, was, there are a lot of people out there just sell it, for side money anyways, but I wanted to distinguish myself around that and have that level of trust. And I think that's why I hold myself to such high standards. If there's a problem, I'm like vanilla ice, if you got a problem, I'll solve it.
Word to your mother.
Now all I need is a 5.0 to deliver my win.
Rolling. Oh, yeah. So it's I guess firewood is one of those, like you said, you need to think of it as a customer service based industry.
I agree.
It's something that if you put that level of attention and detail into it, I think it only reaps higher and better rewards in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to suspect too. I think anyone that gets into business, I think after you are in it for a very short amount of time, a little light goes off inside your head where you think, it didn't have to be firewood.
Yeah.
I could have done this selling computers, or organic chicken. When you look at it as a service that you're providing a value or a customer service, it doesn't matter what you're selling. You still got to learn your industry, obviously, but that was the thing for me, was it just didn't have to be firewood, but I chose firewood, and by golly, I'm gonna be dynamite at it.
Yeah. So the one thing that is interesting to see is how people like online social media presence will complain that, they'll say, well, firewood, it's a lot of work. You get what you get, they don't want to put any effort in it. They're always looking for ways to like scale back and make things easier and more efficient. And then in that efficiency loss, I think you lose quality, but they don't see the quality loss there. There's like, well, this is the way I'm going to do it. That's the bottom line. But
Right.
Then the next day you'll see them posting and complaining about how something has been reduced in some other product that they buy, and they complain that the quality sucks and these people are just trying to save money and they're not putting the effort into it that they used to. So
Yeah.
like they can't see the correlation between what they're doing and what they're complaining about is the exact same thing.
Oh, there you go. You see, Dan, we can solve all the world's problems with firewood.
I know. It's amazing what you can, when you start breaking it down and just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Crazy.
But I see that, though, the way people look at firewood, and people that say, I want to start a firewood business, what do they immediately start talking about? what saw should I have? What splitter can I have? They don't ever talk about where am I going to find my customers? What's my delivery model going to be like?
Right.
Am I going to have a money back guarantee?
Right.
That's never, ever discussed.
Nope. And then they show up at the person's house to deliver the wood, and they step out of the truck and they say, "Where do you want it? Where should I dump it?
Where do I go to the bathroom?
Yeah. Here you go. Hand me my money. I'm out of here."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've heard, I need to do, I need to ask people if they let me record these stories because they're hilarious, about the guys that, the people showing up drunk and, showing their truck just dumped oil all over their brand new driveway and mud and just whatever it is in their firewood order, anything other than firewood.
And then if that customer like points something out, the people are just like, "Well, that's the way it is. That's how the delivery is. Sorry."
Yeah. Or they just don't return the call,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dan. Well, I think when you and me had sat down here, when I was cleaning all this grease off the table.
When I showed up late and didn't get to have any of your lunch because you ate the whole pizza without me.
To our listeners out there, Dan and I, when we talk, we'll have a topic sometimes, but then the other times where we're just shooting the breeze about whatever comes up. And we always say, "Oh, we should have recorded that because that'd have been a great podcast." And I think that was probably the spirit of this, all it took was this one bad pizza to get us off talking and how it relates to firewood. So I hope that you guys found this entertaining as we did.
Yeah, I found it entertaining. I mean, all these bullet points and notes that I studied on the flight down here, I just guess I'll just throw those away and, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I think that's what actually gives, I think that's some of the appeal to this podcast is just that it's not necessarily always just a scripted conversation that we want to, throw out there for you to listen to. Like we're hanging out and just talking, and it always relates to firewood.
Yeah. Well, I hope that everyone enjoyed this discussion, Dan, and I think it was great seeing you again. And I can't wait to do it next week.
Yes. Hopefully I'll get here early before lunch and maybe I can, see what's on the menu next week.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should start the music and I'll run upstairs and get some paper towels.
Sounds good. Thanks again, everyone. Appreciate all you Wood Hounds tuning in to the Wood Hounds podcast here on whatever platform you're listening to. We appreciate it.
And I want to wish all of our Wood Hounds out there in the podcast universe a great,
be cool
kind of day.